when I'm talking with the CEOs, with the founders, I'm asking them to check on everybody and see that everybody's okay. Trying to have those weeklies start with
Yeah,
the understanding that everybody, or if somebody needs something, we should be very tentative. We should always ask them. We should not be in that place that you are. He's not saying nothing. It means that everything is okay. He's not
sure.
saying because he doesn't know
Mhm.
what he can get out of it.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley in partnership with Leumi Tech, sponsored by Homeward Ventures, Hippo Insurance, Upwest Labs, Synergy Global, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, Birthright Excel, Serona Partners, and in media partnership with C-Tech. Hello everyone and welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. This episode is all about talent and HR and recruitment. Meet Dana Bash Shelach. Dana is the CEO of iTalent, a leader in the tech recruitment field. They are committed to leaving organizations and their people in a truly better place, more changeable, more engaged, and better equipped for creating a better future. I'm really excited to talk to you about this thing that we call talent and recruitment, which at the end obviously feeds into what everybody agrees is the most important aspect of a team, which is the team members, right? They have the product, you have the capital, you have the strategy, but then it's all the team members that make it. And you have a very unique perspective as the CEO of iTalent, looking at this a little bit from a higher perspective, seeing the different recruitment patterns in organizations, what works, what doesn't work, and more interestingly, the strategy that some leaders have to employ when they're thinking about their upcoming hires or their recruitment needs in general. So a lot to unpack. I apologize already that I'm going to take you quickly into this field, but Dana, tell me a little bit about iTalent and how you got into this talent recruitment process.
Okay, so I've been working in the recruitment industry for the last 2 decades. Before founding iTalent, my last place of work was Mercury, a company which was acquired by HP. I was leading the sourcing efforts for HP in Israel, and I learned a lot about the funnel and and I had a lot of time to think about candidates and what they like, what's important for them. And when I founded iTalent 12 years ago, it was under the understanding that there is a huge gap that should be reached, and there's the usual channels were not enough. Let's say I've used to work with a
Mm-hmm.
lot of HR agencies, and what I found working in an organization is that the return on investment is very low because their interest is bringing me as many people as possible, and one will sign. And this was not my interest as a company. My interest was getting the best people, the best qualified people, and that was the reason I founded iTalent. Today, iTalent is the biggest RPO company. RPO it's a recruitment process and management. We are a company that manages the whole recruitment cycle for our companies. 90% of our companies are startups, mostly after seed or round A. Today, it's like seed round A is almost the
Yep.
same. And we also work with
Mm-hmm.
corporates, US corporates all over the world. We have the RPO is the biggest unit. We also have the executive leadership group, which handles recruitment of CEO and C levels. We have a global unit, which handles recruitment worldwide, mainly the US market and Europe. And the fourth unit is the academy. We teach organization how to recruit. We have, for example, let's talk about companies like Rapid.
By the way, I just want to make sure that I understand, because I'm hearing two things. You're hearing the management of the recruitment process, but then you're also saying, on the educational front, you're also enabling and catalyzing existing leadership to know how to recruit. So how do you, these are two different offerings, right? One is taking care of the process. One is actually empowering the existing team to do it. What are the differences there?
There are companies that know that when you have a recruitment plan, a yearly recruitment plan, sometimes you will hire people to do that in-house. Sometimes, the hiring process
Hmm.
will take, let's talk about 4 or 2. So at those cases, you don't have to necessarily have to have those people on board. You will use a company like ours. So I believe that the companies that need our services can use us for several. We would like to be a one-stop shop for all their recruitment needs. And sometimes when they grow and they scale, let's talk about companies such as Rapid. Rapid is one of our clients. They hired
Hmm.
about 12 new recruiters, and all the know-how, all the training was done by iTalent. We're working with
Interesting.
the recruitment team, working with recruitment managers, and there is a lot of work today with the hiring managers. We're working a lot about, we're talking a lot about your digital persona. Uh, you know, 10 years ago, you didn't have to be upfront over there. You didn't have to own your LinkedIn profile. Today, you are handling various places which you should be, because people are looking at you. People, when people are coming to see you, they need the information, and they find it through Google, and then they go to the social media site or other way, and they want to see you in conventions where it was we will still meet people, and that knowledge gives you a strong plus while you are meeting those people later on in your during your recruitment process. Um, yeah, no.
Interesting. And so at the end, if you're looking at the knowledge for a minute about the right process to go about this, previously I imagined that recruitment was mainly about putting an ad on the newspaper for an open job, having people walk in to the interviews, having 1 or 2 interviews, and then announcing the position. Today it's a little bit different, right? The way the engagement levels, the different things that you're trying to match before you actually provide an offer. What are the gaps that have formed between those that understand how to do it properly, through, for example, the educational platforms of iTalent or the processes that you're managing yourself, versus those that are coming in and saying, you know what, I'm just going to do this old school, and this is how I'm thinking. What are sort of
The
the
thing
gaps
is that
there?
that old school doesn't work. You just charted
Hmm.
and you said something like he put an ad and somebody will reach out to that. Okay, so the Israeli market,
Hmm.
it's like a roller coaster during the last 2.5 years. It was first of all, it's the Corona time. It was at COVID time. At the beginning, everybody stayed foot and stayed in their own companies because they didn't know what's going to happen. That was the initial start. So
Right.
at this stage, it was like, what am I waiting for? Nothing will happen if I'm not going to be proactive. If I'm not going to have the proactive approach and I will not reach out to those people, they will not come. So the companies had to change. When you're thinking about a recruitment, you're thinking about something that we had those ATS, applicant tracking system. And I'm saying, what is applicant? He doesn't know that he's an applicant. We are reaching out to somebody who's probably working, who's probably is usually in a good place. Why should he come and do something and start the process? So you had to find your EVP, employee value proposition. This is the most important thing for every
Mm,
company. When even the founding team, where there are 1 or 2 founders, and they're thinking about what's their next stage, I'm saying to them, this is the time to start to think about your AVP, EVP. Why is it so important? Your EVP
right.
can change, but you have to find it, because to each candidate, your EVP can be different. Let's say let's talk about the healthcare field. Many companies in the healthcare field have a great advantage because people want to be meaningful. And if you say that loud, say that when you're gonna come here, when you're gonna come and work for us, you're gonna impact your lives. It's very, very appealing to all ages. It's very appealing to the young people, which we always say they're going only for the money. No, no, no. People want to be meaningful. So EVP is something that you must have as a company. And then when you have the EVP,
Hmm.
you have to understand that the world has changed. You don't only look for somebody who has one, two, three. If you can, the only thing that I'm saying, if you can replicate Dolly and make those engineers replicate
Hmm.
themselves, it would be great. But this is not the situation. It's a very competitive market. And in each and every time we are having those conversations, we are minus 10,000 engineers in the Israeli industry only here all the time. 10,000 positions that are not filled, and why should it come to us? So and then we talk about the process. The processes are really changed. With the process, it became virtual. Whenever you met somebody and it wasn't online, there was a sort of commitment. I'm seeing you. There is a commitment. You came. I've asked you how was the weather, if it was okay, if my office is there. There was a commitment in our communication. Communicating with candidates during that period, we really changed, and we had to show them something that we don't really, or we can show them. But a lot of company have adjusted. For example, in a company like I really like those guys in DriveNets. They have the recruitment manager is called Sigal, and what she did. You can come to the office. You will not see the office. You will work from home. But we want you to see the office. So somebody took a camera home, took his phone, and he filmed the room and the work environment and whatever they have here. It was all to give you the notion and the feeling that you are there. By connecting in another ways,
Hmm.
processes became really short, and there is no time. It seems like during the last year, 2021. We are talking about 30% raise in
Yep.
in the Israeli salary of let's talk about senior engineers. Okay, I'm not even talking about senior
Yep.
or executives. Somebody who was 3 to 5.
Yep.
These were the most wanted talents. So numbers
Yep.
were the numbers are something that let's say that media really likes to talk about. They ask me how much the
Sure.
numbers have been raised and what's the differences. But the real story is that everybody will be aligned. At the end, everybody will be at the same numbers. So when you're choosing your next adventure,
Sure.
and it more and more seems like like choosing an adventure, your EVP is the most important thing in the process. You combine, I call it, you combine
Sure.
the pipe, which is finding those people and then engaging them into the process, making it really short. And I think our success really comes from there.
If we're
Yeah.
looking for a moment at the expectation from both ends, so we're talking a lot about the change of expectations between the candidates, the applicants, the AVP that now recruiters have to take into account, the different experiences they have to shine, and the fact that what you're mentioning is that the parameters for a company for an applicant to choose on their side, the company, there's a lot of parameters now, right? It's no longer just the salary or just the benefits. It's now the meaning, it's now the culture, it's the people, it's the different opportunities. So one of the things that there is sort of this new aligned expectation is also the time frame in which a candidate agrees to join a company for. Right? If before there was an expectation of a candidate staying for a long time, now candidates are saying, "Wait, I'm not sure I'm ready to commit right now for 5 years ahead. Let's start with 1 or 2 years on a cultural expectation." What's happening there? And is this something that is,
Well,
that is valid in today's world?
2.5 years ago, I was just before Corona, I was invited by LinkedIn to a convention called Talent Connect in London. And I was listening to a very fascinating lecture held by, uh, she was the VP HR of Tesco, which is the biggest retailer
Hmm.
in Britain. And she said that our children are going to work in 50, not 15, 50 different workplaces. She talked a lot about gig economy, and she and then it was like mind blowing for me to understand that it really makes it difficult for companies, and because the changes, it's like it's not a change, it's a swift.
Yep.
We're looking into 1.5 year. People who work in different places all together, and it's very it's changing the world, but it makes a lot of interesting things. It challenges
Hmm.
the companies to change and to understand that this is reality. They work a lot about how to keep those people with the company, but it became something that is bare law that you can understand. So I can say that we are seeing that not only when we're talking about the engineering level, it's very common, but during last year we also saw that happening in the management.
Hmm.
We saw a lot of management changes. We had a lot of swift because it happens because the companies are now scaling up,
Right.
and the former management is no longer relevant for the new
Right.
challenges. So you see a lot of changes both in the engineering, but not only there.
Yep.
I think it's not that we're giving up on keeping our people and making them happy where they work, but we understand this is part of the game. And it takes me to another place. It takes me for the. It seems like there are a lot of transactions. Let's talk about the recruitment market and look at it as if it's another
Hmm.
market. If 10 years ago the transaction happened after 3 or 4 years while we were working in your company, today it happens after 1 year or 1 year and a half. The interesting thing about it is that it gives a lot of HR tech and recruitment tech very interesting platforms,
Sure.
because if the transactions are which were rare at 10 or 5 years ago, and now they happen they happen very fast. There is a new market for HR tech, and I must say, for us, for example, this made a lot of a digital transformation.
Sure.
We just opened our own company called Candy, which is still small at this stage, but it was all about interacting with candidates
Sure.
through AI, through bots and other stuff. I think it will take our field to another level, because I'm one of the first people to use LinkedIn. I'm calling myself. It was like in 2004, and I remember my first interaction with candidate. They were like, "What? You're interacting with me?" It was very very. And during the last 10 and 15 years, it changed. Imagine yourself being blown up on a daily basis by recruiters. All are saying we have wonderful opportunities. You stop to listen to them. So this is the. I'm not saying that LinkedIn is dead. I'm saying that the first only understanding that your client is he needs another way to reach out to. So you use a lot of technology, and for us it was a great change, because when I founded the company 10 years ago, I was able to reach out to 40 people, and the funnel was like this. Then we said, okay, let's hear. Today, we're talking about many more reach outs. We're talking about thousands of reach outs in order
Hmm.
to hire one.
Sure. No, and I think that what you're touching on is a very interesting trend that we're seeing, and you're talking now about our different opportunities, and I'm also going back to what the head of HR at Tesco said about the gig economy, and understanding, how much, when is culture important, when is the relationship truly important, and the flexibility of knowing that there's this person that may be a great fit for the company. Maybe they're not ready to commit to a family, but maybe they're ready to contribute to a company, to contribute to a mission.
And
And
we stopped using the word family. I think
right,
I think
right,
I think we're not where we used to be, especially in the Israeli market. We used to combine between those things, and
Yeah,
I think, especially during Corona time, COVID time, people understood that there is the family and there
yeah,
is my job. But as you say, I don't. The importance of the. I think that the thing is that yeah, when you feel that you're part of a great thing, and this is something every management should look into and explore all the time, is to be meaningful. And when you make when you emphasize this and you work, you don't only say that or write it in the walls. You know whenever you're going to a company, the walls are full of very nice things people say about themselves. But the thing is, how the managers on the daily basis, especially when they're working from far, not seeing their
sure,
people on a daily basis, do a good job managing. I think management became really tough. I think many people today, everybody wants to be a manager, but when they're in that position today, the challenges are huge, and it mainly composed of maybe I will talk about mainly about emotional management. We're talking a lot about managing emotions. Uh, 10 years ago, when you managed those engineering teams, everybody had it start. Today, when every company works in an agile, you're really dependent on your team, and the manager is the one who conducts this. So we're talking about using understanding the place, or we're working talking a lot about feelings, starting the day with how are you feeling? Are you okay? Understand, we're entering people's lives. We're talking with them, and they're talking from their own. They have one child in the one
yep,
side, and the other one is screaming, and you should be very attentive to that, and very listen. We're talking a lot about listening and translating emotions, talking about that, and this is highly important. I think that it comes from the team leaders are mainly the subject of those new management thing. But I think when I'm talking with the CEOs, with the founders, I'm asking them to check on everybody and see that everybody's okay. Trying to have those weeklies start with
yep,
the understanding that everybody, or if somebody needs something, we should be very tentative. We should always ask them. We should not be in that place that you are. He's not saying nothing. It means that everything is okay. He's not
sure.
saying because he doesn't know
Mhm.
what he can get out of it. Because for us, for everybody, it's a new stage. Let's talk companies who became hybrid. There, most of the companies in Israel are in hybrid states. Most of them work 2 to 3 days in the office. This really helped managers gather their teams around them. Most of the market is working in that way, and I think it's here to stay. I think it's here to stay.
I think that there's so many things that we're opening up, and I love the conversation about the emotional management, and that's obviously it's becoming even more complicated, and when we're looking at the gig economy and what is our role as managers, and what happens when we have team members that are, some of them are part-time, some of them are full-time, some of them are contractors, some of them are really do spend most of their time here, some of them are balancing, and how do you create an environment where you feel where they feel like you're committed to them regardless, and obviously hybrid work. And so we have a lot more to unpack, but and unfortunately I called the show 20-minute leaders, and I need to abide by that. And Dana, thank you very, very much for the time and for the insights. And I am looking forward to continue learning about recruitment and about HR processes and HR tech, and seeing the new company Candy come to life. So thank you very much. Best of
Thank
luck,
you.
and stay safe and stay healthy.